Okay, so let's go over the ingredients before we start. I have 2 cups of diced potato, 1 cup of diced green beans, fresh, 1 cup of celery, sliced and chopped. I'm going to fry off half a cup of onion. I'm going to use some fresh basil and some thyme. And we've got some frozen peas and corn. It's the only frozen vegetables I'm using, and obviously the diced carrot there as well. And add 1 can of corned beef, which I've put into the fridge so it goes nice and hard so I can chop it up easily. So just add the onion, add a little bit of thyme and some basil, about a tablespoon, and just sweat that off. Celery, and just let it cook slowly. I've put this into a wok. You can use a saucepan or a frying pan, whichever. Okay, so let that fry off a little bit. In with our potatoes. Give it a stir. Nice generous cup of carrot. Thanks, Liam. Frozen peas and corn. Our beans. A little bit of pepper. 1 full cup of stock. Once these cool down and we mix in the rest of the ingredients, they've still got another 15-20 minutes in the oven, so that's going to finish off the cooking process. Okay, my filling has been cooled down, so now I'm going to place it back into the wok. All the juice from the stock just add, and all we're going to do is just going to chop that up. And you might need to get your hands in here and break it up. Give it a good mix. And that's the filling ready for the pie, so all we need to do now is put it in the oven. Okay, we're going to make the pastry first. 400 grams of plain flour. So I've got 100 grams of vegetable shortening and 100 grams of nice unsalted butter. I'm going to add a little bit of salt. Blitz this. We're looking for fine breadcrumbs. There you can see. It's a nice fine breadcrumb. Okay, I tip it out onto the bench. Make a little bit of a well. Now about 6 to 8 tablespoons of water. You might have to sort of work around this. I normally start with about 4. I've got ice in here. I want that water nice and cold. And then I just work it around. Try not to get too much of the heat of my hands in this. I want it to be nice and cold. I generally just mix that around. You'll begin to feel that it's a little bit clammy. That's a good sign. I'm going to go ahead now and add a little bit more. Now, I think this recipe was slightly larger than the recipe I did before. So you're just going to have to play around with this water until you get a consistency. And you'll see in a moment. You start pushing it together. I'm not trying not to overwork this. I want it to be nice and short. There we go. You can see it's all mixing together beautifully. If you make your pastry like this, I promise you it will be beautiful and crumbly. Don't overwork it. Now we need to rest it. What I try to do is push it down a little bit. Get it into a shape that's nice and level. So it's going to cool down and rest evenly. Okay, so with a little bit of greaseproof paper, I've just taken some margarine. You can use margarine or butter or whatever, and just line the plate so that the pastry doesn't stick. Straight onto the plate. Don't worry if the pastry tears, you can just push it together. And then cut around the edges. Okay, so there you go, that's your base. Alright, push it down. We're going to put the filling in there quite soon. Dot it with a knife. So just crimp the edges. Cut a little hole here for the steam. And then just brush it with a little bit of milk. You can use egg, but it's not necessary. Entirely up to you. Into the oven on about 180 for about 15 to 20 minutes or and my old friend, my favourite, grated whole nutmeg. Now, black pepper, grated nutmeg and spinach are the three best friends you'll ever find in the whole world. Oh, they'll even accept a little bit of lemon zest or lemon juice. They love him too. But this is just going to be the finishing touches to my pie. I'm just going to mix it around. Don't need to get a potato masher, a whisk is fine. Give it a good mix. Now, 1 egg yolk. Just to give it that softness. It's going to cook in the heat. That is going to be amazing. You don't need to cook the baby spinach because the heat of the potato and everything else all works really well together. Look at that. It's nice and creamy, there's no lumps in there. That, my friends, will go beautifully with this pie that's just about to come out of the oven. Now let's put that aside. Look at that. It's just going to go so well with everything. Nice and bubbling. Okay, now it's time to plate up. Now don't try and use a flat knife. You have to use a serrated knife for a pie like this. Okay, let's get into this and serve it up. It's just cutting through the pastry. You don't even have to do much effort at all. Turn them around a bit. Can you see how flaky it is? That's because I didn't overwork the pastry. Beautiful. Well, thanks everyone for watching Mooney's Kitchen, my dear old mother's corned beef pie, and she's still making it even, she's probably making it now, but until next time.